It's the crowning glory for many people, but in China, the hair colour you sport has to be black, certainly when it comes to university football teams. That rule played into the disqualification of a women's team before kick-off at a match at the weekend. Our China media analyst, Kerry Allen, explains.
Well, just before the match, the referee looked at both teams, and apparently there's a rule at university level football in China that hair dye is not allowed among players, and several players from both teams were rejected from the match at the beginning because they violated this rule. So what happened was, just before the match, all of these football players were told, you've got to quickly dye your hair, it's got to be black, because they had different coloured hair. And one person's hair was still deemed not black enough after all these people had rushed out to get hair dye, and so the team was disqualified.
This seems extraordinary. Has this kind of thing happened before?
It's quite unusual, and it's prompted a lot of anger on Chinese social media platforms like Sina Weibo. A lot of people saying, well, this doesn't really affect the way you play football, so they see a problem with it. But there was a case actually last year where there was a cartoon in China, one that was targeted at little girls, which the characters in it had different rainbow coloured hair, and somebody complained about this, and this cartoon then needed to undergo rectification work because it was seen as potentially setting a bad example to young children, that it might inspire them to be too different and too out there, and it might set a bad example for them in later life.
So in everyday life, if you're a woman and you wanted to have peroxide blonde hair, would that be frowned on?
It would, yes. And actually, I remember when I was living in China, bear in mind my hair is quite blonde brown, it was very difficult for me to buy hair dye. Originally, yeah, my hair was dyed, so I just wanted to top up my roots, and you go into shops and there's just all of the colours in the shop are basically black or very similar shades to black.
Are you allowed to go grey, though?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Actually, though, having said that, the top leadership do dye their hair, and it's very rare to see. For example, the president, Xi Jinping, his hair is black, and it's very rare to see, really, until people are touching 70 or 80 with grey hair.
Why is that, do you think? You lived there. What is it about the culture that means everybody must conform to this idea of black hair? Is it just their idea of what being Chinese is?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I think also, China's had a problem in recent years with people losing their hair, so people do want to cover that up. There's actually a huge epidemic in China of people losing their hair very young now with stress and working longer hours. But yeah, having a full head of black hair is seen as something to be proud of. So yeah, there's a big industry for people getting wigs to try and cover this up. Having black hair is something, yeah, you should be proud of.
Kerry